Just for anybody that doesn't know David, he served under me on the planning commission. Did a fantastic job. If you looked at his resume, he ought to be running the hospital, not only here but around town and other places. I highly recommend the individual. He does his research, and I tried getting him back on planning, but he just wouldn't do it. So
Okay.
I highly recommend him for that position.
All right. This will be for position number 6. Ms. Balance, yes,
I
ma'am.
have a point of clarification, if you please.
All right, go ahead.
I don't understand, since Ms. Cogan was not on this list and Mr. Mitchell is not on this list, why we're bumping Ms. Cogan and we're not bumping Mr. Mitchell. I'd just like to know why.
I believe you've already had this one in your possession. Is that correct? And Ms. Cogan was just added tonight.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Is that the way? Okay.
We need to nominate him, and then the next meeting, then they vote on it, even though
Okay.
they have it in their boxes.
All right.
They officially nominate.
Nominations open for Mr. Mitchell. I believe Mr. Pownell made a motion to approve.
I'll rescind my second.
All right. Is there another second?
We need to wait on rescinding the motion.
Okay. And all right, so you vote on him next time. All right, along with Ms. Cogan, apparently. We'll get these right in a minute. It's a process, folks. It's a process.
It's called learning.
But any other comments during the commission committee authority reports? Ms. Balance?
I'd like to thank everybody who has turned in an application. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right, public comments. Do we have anybody in public comments?
No.
All right. We have no public comments. Move on to unfinished business. First item on the agenda. I need to make a recommendation or a recommendation to the committee here to introduce the State of the City address. I can do this now. I can do it towards the end. It's up to y'all. I should have done it back on the approval of the agenda, but I beg your indulgence on this.
Do that during your comments.
Okay, I'll wait till then. We'll put it aside. With that, we'll go to the first item on unfinished business. This will be discussion of the 2011 budget amendments. I hear a motion.
Move to discuss.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any discussions on this one? Ms. Balance?
I move to strike line item 01-00-5015 from the budget.
All right, motion's been made to strike. That would be the retirement distribution, 01-10-5015. Is that
Yes, sir.
correct? Motion's been made to strike that item number with the retirement distribution from the agenda. Is there a motion?
There is a
You made the
motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Any discussion on it? Mr. Pownell?
I've had a lot of comments, and I've done a lot of research, and I don't want to, as it was addressed when it was initially proposed at the last sitting council, I don't want to get into personalities, I want to get into the position. I've had a lot of people that are dead set against it because they're concerned about the number of years. With the information that I've gotten from the Arkansas Municipal League, and I think others at this table have received along with other people, if the position is due, the retirement, so be it. But I feel that there's some interpretation of the statute that gets a little mucky because of the 4 years that she served as a city employee and paid into a retirement account and withdrew that total retirement, and the code says that it does not count towards the accountable years, and I would just like to get a higher powers opinion before we make a decision on it. Even if it means if we could legally up it for 90 days with no recourse, that if it comes back and knows she's not warranted it, that she wouldn't have to pay it back. If not, then it wouldn't continue. I just really have a hard time going through a stack of emails and legal decisions that warrant arbitrarily approving something for the rest of somebody's life at that dollar figure.
Yeah, Mr. DeVito?
Well, I've not received email, one phone call, letter, any correspondence from any constituents regarding this matter. I'll defer to the city attorney. We discussed this at great length. Arkansas Code specifically states that she served as the deputy city clerk. It made no mention of any monies and any schedule on whether or not it was. I think you're talking about two different things here. The state statute was specific, and I'll let the city attorney, and I hope you'll allow his input on this, that it's very specific as the position of deputy city clerk, which she served for 4 years. She then served in the capacity of city clerk for 8 years, so that's a total of 12 years. I did not see any gray area. I saw nothing in state code about any retirement fund paid into or not. If there had been mention of that, I might think it, but I think, quite frankly, you're thinking about two separate things, and I think state code's pretty clear if you allow the city attorney.
Any other discussion? Mr. Pownell?
Just one clarification. I would ask without putting her on the spot, the current city clerk, who's her deputy. I've never seen that position, and I was told about 5 years ago that for a position to exist, it had to be approved by the city council, and there's no record of a deputy city clerk being anywhere other than potentially self-named.
Mr. DeVito?
We've shuffled the deck chairs on this ship a number of times in the past. We had the city clerk's position consist of taking minutes and nothing more. Council tweaked and changed the positions regarding city staffing over the course of the last few decades. It was quite clear that she served in the capacity under Nita Barner as deputy city clerk. So I don't see an issue here regarding that.
Ms. Balance?
I also have done extensive research into this. I've found a lot of reasons that maybe we shouldn't do this, and very few, if any, that we should. First, I'd like to point out 2412-103, Vote to Effect Act. And this is in conjunction with paid non-uniformed employees. Just for a little background, 2412-101 says paid non-uniformed employees means the mayor, city attorney, city treasurer, city clerk, or a municipal judge of any city to which this act is applicable. When the mayor, city attorney, city treasurer, city clerk, or municipal judge elects to be so completed. I find 2412-103 says Vote to Effect Act. The provisions of this act shall be suspended and inoperative in any city affected by the provisions of the act until made available by a vote favorable thereto of the majority of the qualified electors of the cities participating in any election on the question, a special election called for the purpose of voting on the question. Then I move down to 2412-104 and I see tax levy to support the fund. And Section B says, at any time that any city in this state shall meet the requirements of this section, then, and in that case, the provisions of this act shall apply to the city. I move down to 2412-105. It says we need a board of trustees to oversee this fund. I move down to 2412-108, deposit of monies. It says the board shall deposit all monies in the bank selected as the fiscal agent of the city in which it is located. I find in 2412-110 payments, all monies paid from the pension and relief fund, which I don't think exists, shall be paid by the treasurer only upon warrant signed by the chair and countersigned by the secretary thereof. I find under 2412-111, monies added to the fund and refund. Under Section 2, it says not less than 6% of the monthly salary of each employee to be deducted each month by the city or its proper agency and immediately paid to the Board of Trustees of the Pension and Relief Fund for paid non-uniformed employees. I find in Section C it says, both the employees and employers shall contribute to the fund equal amounts of covered payroll. I find under Section 2 of this, upon receiving a refund of the amounts deducted from his or her monthly salary from the Pension and Relief Fund for paid non-uniform employees of the city, the employee shall forfeit his or her credited service as a member of the Pension and Relief Fund and shall not be eligible thereafter to receive any benefits under the provisions of this Act for his or her service. 24-12-112 says proration upon insufficiency of funds. If at any time there should not be sufficient money in the fund, which I don't think it exists, to pay each person a full amount to which he or she may be entitled, the beneficiaries shall be paid by prorating the fund available among them in accordance with the respective benefits being received under this Act. We're supposed to, under 24-12-113, we're supposed to be receiving a report on the condition of this fund. Again, I have not received it. I don't think the fund exists that I'm aware of. Okay, then I've found an Attorney General's opinion that says the law in this area is fairly well settled. Article 12, Section 5 of the Arkansas Constitution prevents municipalities from donating or appropriating money to private corporations, associations, institutions, or individuals. Further, the public purpose doctrine, as recognized by general case law, is also applicable. It states that monies may only be spent on items that will benefit the entire public. Pursuant to these principles, the Attorney General has found that the expenditures of such monies is unconstitutional as donation and does not serve the general purpose. The general purpose. In Attorney General Opinion Number 94-397, the Attorney General reviewed those expenditures which he believes are unlawful. They include blah, 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 monetary payments to employees for long, faithful service. I opened a dialogue with Mr. Schoen, who's the Municipal League attorney, and I had several questions I was going to ask him, so I started with one. And that had to do with the Eureka Springs City Council meeting of December 13th, when a motion was made, seconded, and passed to approve the retirement of City Clerk M.J. Sell. I went on to elaborate, and his answer to me was, I would advise that you ascertain what actually occurred rather than to engage in presumptions which are not supported by the facts. So I asked him, I told him what the motion was. The motion was to approve the retirement of M.J. Sell. There was nothing in that motion to approve, including her 8 years plus the years of service as the deputy clerk. There was no, it didn't include approval of retirement benefits. It approved retirement, but not retirement benefits. Court of law generally looks at what is, not what the intent was. So what actually happened was to approve the retirement of City Clerk M.J. Sell. That tells us nothing. It also did not add a line item to the budget to fund the retirement benefits. And he said, I would advise you that you ascertain what actually occurred. What actually occurred was this. Approve the retirement of City Clerk M.J. Sell. If indeed the intent of the former City Council was to elaborate on that, I suggest that perhaps they should have elaborated on that when they made the motion. And perhaps they did not, so they would give us a little wiggle room so we weren't nailed down to this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Weaver, do you have any comments regarding this matter?
The several sections that the Alderman has just read are not applicable to this particular matter.